Hello, welcome to Northern Moderation. I'm Bo Shields, and we are professional amateurs. Today is our first episode. We're going to talk about how to smoke a cigar. With me, I've got my dad, Brad Shields. He's the president of Shields Windshields. I've got Tracy. Tracy's our gunman. And Rob McKee. Rob McKee is a strongman competitive athlete. When smoking a cigar, there's really 5 things you need to know. For one, you need to know about your cigar. 2, you need to know how to cut it. 3, you need to know how to light it. 4, you know how to smoke it. And then the 5th thing you need to know is the inevitable, how to relight your cigar when it goes out.
One of the first things you need to know when you're smoking a cigar is the anatomy of the cigar and how it's put together. You'll start with the cap, which is the very tip on the end. You'll come down just below the cap is what we call the shoulder. Just below the shoulder is the head. Then you have the body of the cigar, and this is the foot where you'll do your lighting.
Okay, the first step when we're going to smoke a cigar is to cut the cigar. This is also the first opportunity to make a good cigar a bad smoke because you cut it wrong. I've learned that from experience the hard way. Now I'm going to talk about the 3 basic methods of cutting the cigar. We have a punch, we have a V-cut, and we have a straight cutter. Now, over the years, as we've sat around and smoked, I have argued and made adamantly the points for each one of these. Straight cut's the best ever, don't want to hear it, boys. V-cut's the best ever, don't want to hear it, boys. Punch is the best, don't want to hear it, boys. Well, what that tells me is how you cut your cigar is how you like it the best, what gives you the best smoke. Currently, right now, I'm a V-cutter. So I'll start with the V-cut and show you what it is. The V-cut makes a notch across the center of the cap. Now, notice the cap that Tracy talked about. The whole point is we do not want to ruin that cap and ruin the smoke. The nice thing about this V-cutter is it becomes a natural backstop. So when I put it in here to cut it, I'll get the V and it's protected, not too much. The straight cut is a guillotine cut. Okay, it slices it off. There's 2 keys to this. The first key with this is that when you line up the guillotine, again, you make sure you can see the cap, that you're not cutting it off. The second is when you go to cut it, you cut it decisively and quickly. And the third is the punch. The punch simply puts a hole in the back of the cap so you can draw your cigar from there. Now, before I actually cut, these 3 are sample cigars. If possible, I prefer to use this big stainless steel cutter. It has 2 sizes of a V-cut, 2 sizes of a flat cut. The other great thing about this is I have one, my son bought it for me because he and his friends over the years think that every time they smoke with me, cutters are a take-home gift. They're not. So, the first thing I'm going to cut with is my personal favorite is the V-cut. I prefer the large V-cut over the small V-cut. Now, all jokes aside, even in a couple of cigar lounges I've been at, I've known guys that have actually really hurt themselves on their fingers. It's very easy, accidentally, to put your cigar in one of these slots and let your pinky fall down inside there, and that one blade cuts them all at once. And I'm not joking, you won't do it twice. Well, if you're from Kentucky, you might, but just kidding. I like Kentuckians, I do. All right, so to get my V-cut, I put it right here. Hold it down there steady, don't let it move, don't let it wobble around, and you simply take the lever and push it down, and now you got a nice V-cut. And you can see the deep draw right in there, and this is what I prefer. I like to blow it out and kind of clean it up so I'm not getting a lot of grit out of my teeth. I'll do the same thing now with the large cut right here. So it's kind of nice, the size of this, the gauge of this cigar, which is about a 60, 62, I'd say. It won't go through, and it's a natural stop, so it's naturally going to keep itself from cutting that cap off. So again, go through, make sure the little guy's not in the hole. Boy, I could say a whole lot more there, but we won't go there right now. And now you'll see I have a good straight cut right here. The cap is protected, and I've got a nice opening for the draw of my cigar. Now the punch is really quite simple. Line it up, I prefer the center. I don't know why someone would go someplace else. And with a little pressure and a little rotation, you come through and you pull out, and you have a little hole right there. Now again, there's some drawbacks. This size cigar, this is not what I would want to do with the cut. So, for the next step from there, we're going to have to learn to light this thing up. Okay, so now we're going to light the cigar. And we're going to do what I prefer, and I think it's the best way. I'm going to use a torch that has multiple flames in it right there that you use your fluid with. I think that's the best way. I've also picked the V-cut to light because that's my favorite cut. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, to get the lighter going, is I'm going to toast the foot. Now when I toast the foot and I come around here, I really don't want the flame to be touching onto the actual cigar. It's kind of like if you're doing marshmallows out and you're roasting them. Now if you like getting them on fire and throwing to your friends, that's cool. But I don't want to throw my cigar, so I'm just toasting it. Now I've got a toasting going on right there. So now I'm going to come down and I'm going to ignite my fillet. So I'm going to come around here and remove my torch, and I'm going to try to get an even burn all the way around. Once I feel comfortable with that, as I'm getting all the way around there, I'm going to bring it to my mouth and I'm going to start to draw and get the flame right up there. Now I turn my cigar, get the flame, I look at that, and I'm going to blow. We call it blowing the cherry. So I've got a nice even red all the way around the end of my stick. That's how I light a cigar. Now it's time for me to enjoy it.
All right, now there's another way you can light a cigar with a match. You want to use not a paper match, but a wooden stick match that's sulfur free. That way you don't flavor your cigar like sulfur. Now, basically I'm going to do the same thing Brad did with the torch, but it may take me a minute longer. You're going to light your match. You want to toast the foot again. And it may take 2 matches to get this one done, but we'll get there. And we're going to heat the center of the filler. Then we're going to get a new match. Now I've got a nice even cherry on my cigar and it's ready to smoke.
The next way to light a cigar is with a cedar spill. The only reason I would use the cedar spill is if I didn't have a torch or a match, and I happen to have cedar spills, and I don't know why I would. So I would light this with a big lighter or something. Light it just like the match. I would toast my foot, light it. You kind of have to play with it to keep the flame going and not burn out too quick. But I have a torch, so I'm going to light the cigar with a torch. And there's lit cigar.
So I want to give a disclaimer here and a big thanks to my guys. I purchased a handful of low quality bad cigars for demonstration purposes. If you notice, some of the cigars had dry leaves poking off, cracking, and some already have some runs on this cigar. Those were just for demonstration purposes. Here in a second, we're going to light up our good cigars and we're going to talk about how to smoke. But before we do that, I do want to cover some huge key factors when you smoke a cigar. The big one is don't use a Zippo. Don't use a Bic lighter. Don't use anything that's going to add any fuel flavor. I've seen a person use a candle before. It's a big no-no. You're going to smoke a vanilla or Sex on the Beach flavored cigar, whatever the flavor of your candle is. So, again, if that's all you have, use a spiff. I've seen some guys roll up a paper plate and light that and light the cigar with that. Anything is better than using a Zippo or a Bic lighter. Smoking, there's really 3 things you gotta pay attention to. First thing is smoke with people you like. That's simple enough. The second thing is smoke slow. Now tune into our next episode and we're going to show you why you have to smoke slow when we dissect a cigar. Science. The third thing is drink something you like with the people you like. So, cheers. Thanks for joining us today. We are professional amateurs. We are what we are, and we will not apologize for it. We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you tune in next time. We're going to dissect this cigar, and we're going to show you why you need to smoke slow.
Science.
Cheers.